Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4 o'clock. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Roll call is first. Councillor Webster.
Present.
Councillor Humphreys.
Present.
Councillor Carew.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Present.
Declaration of pecuniary interest. Oh, I guess I better say I'm present too, eh? Declaration of pecuniary interest. None being heard. Confirmation of council agenda. Anything to add?
Oh, sorry.
Nothing to add.
Okay. I need a mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Campbell, Councillor Humphreys, Councillor Webster,
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Councillor Carew,
In favor.
and I'm in favor. Oh, did I ask you, Glenn? No.
No. But
Okay.
I'm in favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
I'm in favor.
Delegations or public meetings, we don't have any. Minutes from the previous meetings of March 2nd, 2021, March 11th, 2021, and March 22nd, 2021. I need a mover and a seconder, please. Moved by Councillor Webster. Second by Councillor Humphreys. Any discussion? Deputy Mayor Campbell. Your mic's not on.
In favor.
Councillor Carew,
In favor.
Councillor Humphreys,
In favor.
Councillor Webster,
In favor.
and I'm in favor. Business arising from the minutes. None being heard. Committee reports, Transportation and Environmental Services Committee, Councillor Webster. Would you take the floor, please?
Great. Thank you, Mayor Bennett. Welcome, everybody. 7.1 transportation and 7.1.1 staff report award tender PW 2020-01. I believe Adam's attending also.
He was supposed to. Let me just quickly message him. I know the internet's kind of been spotty here, so
Okay.
Hope sent him on a mission a minute ago. That's the truth of it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll give him a second here. If not, then I'll carry on. Okay. Oh, here's.
he'll be on it in just a few seconds there. If you want to go ahead and just go over the report, and you should be on it in no time.
So page 14 of our package, the first one is the 2500 series regular cab truck up for tender. We received one price, that's $73,683. And the recommendation is that council agree to reissue the tender later this year, and that staff separate the snow plow and truck supply into two tenders, two separate supply tenders. The reason being, in discussion with Adam, is that hopefully we'll get more bids coming in, competitive bids, and it was over budget. So I'll let Adam chime in there also. We're just on the first one there, Adam.
Okay, I apologize for my tardiness. I'm just pulling it up here.
That was my fault, not Adam's.
The recommendation is that the council agrees with staff recommendation to reject the bid submission for PW 2021-01, supply of one new 2500 series regular cab truck with snowplow from Urban Ford for the amount of $73,683.01, including HST. The council agree to reissue the tender later this year, and that staff separate the plow and truck supply tender into two separate supply tenders. The background is the tender was released in late February, received 1 submissions. Staff called many dealerships to notify of the release. Also placed ads in OV Business and Badingo. Bid submissions came in over budgeted amount of $65,000. Staff believe the bid submitted is inflated to reflect the lack of market supply and that the current fleet will meet the needs of the township temporarily until the market stabilizes.
Any comments? Oh,
Sorry, through the chair, if I could just add to that, instead of, I did reword the resolution in the recommendation to that staff will bring forward a plan to the next regularly scheduled test committee meeting, instead of locking ourselves into reissuing the tender later this year. So staff will bring back a report to the test committee
okay.
on how to move forward.
Yeah, that report will be coming tomorrow. I'm drafting it as we speak. It might be a little rough, but the plan has kind of come together last minute. So.
Great, thanks. Any other comments, questions? Deputy Mayor?
Just I'm in agreement with when I first read it, I didn't understand myself because I know you had made the calls just to ensure that everybody was on board, that phoning the local dealerships, which I appreciate. And no, solid decision. Thank you.
Great, thanks. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, I guess we'll move on to number 2. 7.1.2 staff report. I'll let Adam take it from there. Page 16.
The council agrees with staff and award PW 2021. I think I skipped one here. My apologies. 2021-02, supply and haul of pit run and granular M to Bonisher Excavating Incorporated for the amount of $46,735.67, including HST. The tender was released in late February and received 6 submissions. The bidding for this supply tender were extremely competitive and resulted in the township receiving a quoted price for granular M that is significantly lower per ton than in recent years. And attachments are the unofficial results.
Great, very competitive. Any comments, questions? Councillor Cleric?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what was the budget amount, or proposed budget amount for this, Adam?
I adjusted it to 65,000. We were going to use the regular 50, 10 from taxation, 40 from gas, and then 15 from my operating gravel. I still want to up the amount because there is extra works to do there. Last year we paid $13.80 per ton for granular M. This year it's $11.90. So it's well worthwhile to put the extra granular down while we're getting that price.
Great. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, guess we'll move on to number 3, 7.1.3. Award tender PW 2021-03, page 18.
The council agree with staff and award PW 2021-03 Witten Road South Rehabilitation to BR Fulton Construction Limited for the amount of $180,996.62, including HST. The tender was released in late February and received 6 bid submissions. The bidding for this tender was also extremely competitive, resulting in the township having sufficient funds to potentially extend the paved surface the entire length of the road, 1.6 kilometers. And the unofficial results are the attachments.
Yeah, the bottom 3 bids very competitive, very tight. If you notice on your pages there. Comments, questions? Deputy Mayor.
Again, with a very competitive, have we contacted Fulton's and ensure that they're satisfied with their bid?
I have contacted Fulton's. They're satisfied with their bid. They're aware that we will be potentially looking to extend to pave the rest of the surface. And I proposed a 7-meter radius cul-de-sac at the end to help with turnaround as the buses have issues getting stuck down there. I've spoke to both residents at the end of the road. They're satisfied with that, even though the road does veer a little off our established easement. They are fine with it staying as is if we extend the pave down to service them as well. That report will be coming to test tomorrow again for the estimated prices based off of what Fulton submitted. I had them itemize everything so that I could get an estimate, and with the extra gas tax that we've been allotted, I think we can fund the rest of the road.
And you answered the second part of my question. Thank you about the turnaround at the end. And I agree for not even mile for mile, but foot for foot, if you count the amount of residential dwellings on that road, there's a lot of traffic on that road. If we could pave that in for end.
Yeah, that's an extra, I think, 24 houses that we'd service with pave. And again, this will be coming to test tomorrow, but it's an excellent use of the gas money. We have to report back at the end of the year what we use that funding for, so it would bode well with them.
Again, great idea, and power dues.
Yeah, great idea. Councillor Humphreys, I seen your hand up earlier.
Yes, Councillor Webster. No, it's really nice to see lots of competition in the bidding. Look back a couple of years, there might have been 1, 2, or 3, but to have 6, that's really, really good. And people are hungry to work and hungry to do things. So it's good for the economy to get things going and save us a bit of money too. So thank you, Councillor Webster, and thank you, Adam.
Yeah, I cannot remember the final number, our budgetary number. Adam, you can help us, but I believe by completing the whole road, it's still under our budget. And the bonus of getting the complete road done. So it's good news all around.
Yeah, Tom is correct. Off what the prices off of last year, what I estimated this was around the $260,000 mark, and we should be able to do the rest of the road for that price off of this bid.
Great. Councillor Cleroux.
Yeah, that's going to test tomorrow. Then when will that come back to council to decide if we're doing the rest of the road? Is that the format we're going to be doing?
Yes, I've delivered Robbie the news that we are looking to do that, and then once we get a formal decision, we will move forward with the pricing and accept that through formal resolution. Right now, I'll accept this price, and then the extension will come through the process of testing council.
Mayor Bennett, I seen your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Just so I'm a little bit clear here, when we're originally talking about this, we had $300,000 in the budget to look after Whitten Road. But we are going to retain that figure, I would hope, till the whole road's done, and we've additionally looked after what we may have for construction problems that are not. I don't believe the grades are shot yet. Adam, have they been?
No, I haven't looked at the drainage along there other than just preliminary. Once things dry up a little more, I'll get some grade shots on it and see what we can do along the ditch adjacent on the other side of the road from the halting property. We'll see what we can do there, and if there is funds, we'll see if there is a solution.
Okay, so we started this off at with tests with $300,000 budget. I just hope we can retain it and just put what money is left out of that back into the fund as soon as the project's completely done. That's all.
Yeah, I agree that everything should be done. We're done, completed that road, everything's taken care of. Don't have to worry about it for future years. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, no, I will pass it back to you, Mayor Bennett.
Thank you, Councillor Webster. We will move on to the Planning Committee. Chair Cleroux.
All right. Yep, sorry. So 7.2, point 1, sorry, a request to purchase on road allowance, Alan Jameson. On page 20 report. Do I pass this on to Hope? You want to request or read it?
Yeah, I just want to let council know I do have Alan Jameson coming on to the Zoom call. So because it was a request for action made by him, so I'm going to admit him to the meeting so that any questions can be directed directly towards Mr. Jameson. I believe this is Mr. Jameson.
Chair Cleroux.
Yes, Maria.
Well, would you just mention the advisory committee so that they're in the roll call?
Oh yeah, sorry. Do you actually want to call them out? Or
Yeah, call them out, whatever.
okay. Lisa? Oh, I think you're muted. I think you're
Here.
here. Robert? And the second Robert. I think you're muted. Is Alan in?
I think he's under iPad 4, but he's muted. If Alan, if that's you on the Zoom call, are you able to unmute yourself? Alan, is that you? Okay, so he just in the chat, it is Alan. So I don't know, Chair Cleroux, if you wanted to, it won't let him unmute his computer. So maybe if that's the case, we can utilize the chat and then I can relay anything back and forth if council or committee have any questions.
Okay. You want to go over it all or just want to?
Yeah,
You all read it.
Yeah, everybody had a chance to read it. I'm not going to read it verbatim. It's just a request to purchase the portion of the unopened road allowance at the extension of Goshen Road. But yeah, you've all had a chance to read it. So if there are any questions,
Okay.
I can try to answer them and relay them back to Mr. Jameson as well.
Okay. Any questions from the public advisory members? Okay. And from council, Councilor Humphreys.
Is that road allowance usable? Like, is it a cow path or like a brush trail or any type of access there from the extension down past the railway tracks? Like how far does that go as drivable property?
I don't believe that portion is travelable. I think from what I gather, it's bush and some ravines throughout that extension of the road allowance. There may be some members of council or committee that might know a little bit more, having boots on the ground down there, if anybody wants to chime in.
Mayor Bennett?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, there is quite a ravine on that road. And from the railroad tracks down, I'm going to say the end of the road that's drivable and accessible to the fields at that end at the gates would be approximately 1,000 feet, I believe, to where it's open now. It is quite a challenge to walk that road allowance to get in there because of that deep ravine that's in there. It's got to be at least 60 to 80 feet elevation from the road, top of road to the bottom of the gully down in there right now. So it is challenging. There is issues that we need to address, and it's probably a good property to actually get eyeballs on, so that you would have an idea of what's in front in order to know what we can do and how we can work with Alan in order to accomplish something here that would work for both the township and himself. But it's very difficult without looking at it to realize what the challenges are to move that road forward.
Yeah. Councilor Humphreys?
Yeah, once I zoomed in, you can really see the gullies there now on the pictures. They're quite deep looking for sure. Just by expanding the screen, you can get a very good bird's eye view of how deep the ravines are. So,
yeah. And Robert Johnson. Well, I think you muted.
Mr. Johnson is muted.
So I've got another member. Alan mentioned that there's a Tracy here that she's trying to get connected. I'm
there. You can talk.
Okay, this is Alan. I just switched to a phone. I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
yep.
So I think Bob Johnston, one of the committee members, they were going to speak. They had their hands up to unmute.
Hey, you're muted, Mr. Johnson. Oh, you're still muted. There we go.
Are you hearing me yet?
Yeah, you're good.
Pardon? I'm getting terrible reception here.
Yeah, you're good.
We can hear you, Mr. Johnson.
Okay, can I go ahead and say what I have to say?
Yep.
Okay, I drove over this morning. I've been over there several times on other situations. And when you look at the map there, the road right now is dead ends just about where it starts into the Mask property and the LeBlanc property. So that's about, like Dave said, 1,000 feet down from the railroad track. There's a dead end there, and the road goes up into the Mask field. And I guess that's the only way Irvin could get in to that property, because the gully is right dead ahead. So the road on both sides of that, the left side is owned by Mask, the right side is owned by LeBlanc. So there's no abutting property for Alan to buy anything. So the only way you get in is give right away ahead through that gully and all the way across to where his property is, which is going to be probably, by the look of it, maybe 1,500 feet. Does that explain it or not?
That's correct on my end.
You're muted, Councillor Carew.
Sorry. Sorry, Alan, it's Lane here. Do you want to give a quick brief of your letter and your request?
Yeah, basically is what Mr. Johnson said and what Davis said, like the road that's there now stops right at the edge of the Mask and the LeBlanc property. And what has happened recently is Mrs. Mask has got a lawyer involved and just mentioned that she doesn't want anything but farm equipment to go across her property now, which is still good to this point because we do have it rented out for the hay fields, but we can't access it for anything else. So basically we're just asking to see, and it is I don't even think it's a goat path or anything. I don't think anybody's even walked where we're talking, but like, I don't even know what kind of ordeal it would take to get a skidder and log it and just see if we can make some kind of road ourselves.
Okay. Thank you, Alan. Councillor Campbell.
So right now, I can see where the railroad tracks are, and I see the Goshen Road as we're showing it. Now, where the section of Goshen Road ROW looking to purchase is it at that point where the turnaround is? Is that where the gates are and the turnaround for access to the field is?
Correct. Into the Mask.
Okay, so that's right at the how do you sort of your circular pattern showing the part you're looking to purchase. That's where that turnaround is, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, fair enough.
Okay, I think Bob Cassidy, I think you got your hand up. You're muted.
Thank you, Lane. Yeah, a question I have, I guess, goes to Alan. Do you have no other access to that property?
Nothing.
Well, I guess when they put Highway 17 in, was there not some sort of condition put in that your father would have had access to the property because they cut through your land, right?
Yeah, they made all kinds of promises and never came through with any of them. They did mention maybe if it went to a 4-lane, they could have access to a gate off one of the lanes, but since they're thinking of the 4 lanes coming up, nobody will even talk to me about that access. So I'm thinking, because they were talking maybe a service road at one time, but it's not looking good on my end anyway.
Well, if the MTO made a commitment that your father would still have some sort of access to his property, should this not be better put into MTO's hands and those powers that be? I'm not certain on that, but anyways, just kind of my on it.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years and there's been no response.
Well, maybe Mayor Bennett could give you some insight into that.
I think the MTO was still okay that there was access through the Mask, and when Mr. Mask or Haas, sorry, was still living, it was no issue. But when we got the letter from the lawyer, it kind of summed it up for us.
Okay. So I'm not learned enough to be able to tell you how to proceed, but the way I see it, MTO should be heavily involved in this and get on their case too.
I've been talking back and forth with MTO. They want to buy another 2.2 acres off us. And he's basically telling me whatever they said back then, there's nothing written down. And he says that's probably just something they said to your father back then when they purchased the land the first time.
Oh, that's a bugger. Okay, thank you for your comments, Alan. I'm done.
Mayor Bennett?
Yeah, I'd just like to maybe invite Alan to put all the stuff that he has together, because I don't know the history of that deal. And we do have direct email to the MTO person that looks after Highway 17 in Renfrew County. And we can correspond with him to see if we can come up with an answer. But probably not a solution, but we come up with an answer of what could possibly be done to access the property. But other than that, we would have to work together, Alan, just to with the office here to put a submission together that MTO would entertain to begin with.
Right. Because I know my father did, before his passing, he did talk to Mary Hasser to see if we could even buy the edge of her fields and kind of run, where the McDonald's signs and everything, and make a trail and not bother the field that much. But there was nothing there either.
Was there, sorry, Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there anything on writing to actually talk to Mary Haas about?
I'm assuming my mother would still have the legal letter. Like,
So
I know it basically said no commercial vehicles, and then mentioned farm implements.
Okay. Well, we're certainly willing, Alan, to work with you with MTO. It would be something out of the realm of the township to start working with Mary Haas, but with MTO, I would presume council would be more in favor of trying to get an answer for you through MTO.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Johnson. Yeah, go ahead, Bob. Oh,
I think Mr. Johnson is frozen.
No, sorry, I was just agreeing with Mr. Jameson. Mr. Humphries looks like he has a comment.
No, I think Robert, Bob.
Can I go ahead and speak?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I agree with Alan that the MTO dropped the ball here, because there's no way they should have left him with that. They buy all that, most of his farm there, and then not give him some kind of an access to it without that little piece of property going across to the Goshen Road, away down, a couple thousand feet from where they actually gave him a road into the field. I drove in that road this morning, turned around in the field, and it's like I say, when you look straight out, you see the overpass. So that's right, the line fence between Andy Klug and the Mask property. And therefore, MTO should be made either open up that road or give them an access along that line fence out next 417 at the start of the Mask property there, where you see that little triangle, where the tree line is out there going to where the jog is on the Jameson property. But I think that the MTO. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councillor Humphries.
Just a quick question for you, Alan. I noticed today when you go out on O'Brien Road and you stop at the lights, you can see that where they have that jog, it's already cut in pegs and that. So if they were putting their turnabout, why wouldn't they let you have access off those emerge lanes and off ramps? I know in London there's the same situation. They could go over the overpass and go off into the farm fields from the merge lanes or the cloverleaf style. And that's, it was quite interesting to see great big tractors going on the off ramp, and the next thing they're in the fields with the wings down and disking and stuff. So maybe if they want to buy that 2.2 acres, maybe that will be the deal. They say, hey, let's give me some access. So maybe you'll be in the driver's seat for that.
Yes, I definitely tried that with him. They did kind of mention that O'Brien Road will look a lot like Campbell Drive in Arnprior. It'll be quite a height. Maybe where it first starts, it might be at the fence line. That definitely could be something.
Yeah. So they've already bought that property, Alan, where the loop is on your blue diagram?
They bought that loop back in 74, I guess, but now they want another ring, which accommodates 2.2 acres, I believe.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
I guess, Alan, too, maybe while you're at it, I understand if you check with your mother and see what wording she has and letters. Maybe in the meantime as well, if there is a possibility of, the purchase of that extension to get you to where you're showing your retained property, maybe if you could just get a budgetary price from someone to put a road that would be suitable for your use. And then when we were speaking with the MTO, if it fails that end, you might know what that 2.2 acres is going to cost, or you'll be selling it to them for that road access.
Yeah. You wouldn't even believe what they're offering anyway. They're so far out of value right now that they're.
Yeah. Usually when they're asking, it's the business rule: buy low, sell high, and repeat till rich. So,
Councillor Webster.
Thank you, Councillor Cleroux. Alan, Tom Webster here. What is your actual preference? What would you prefer? What would be your number one choice, number two choice type of thing? Just so we have some kind of clarity moving forward, where we want to end up with this.
Basically, I don't want to be limited what I could run into our property back there. Now there is, because there is a licensed pit back there too, Tom. I don't know if you knew that, but that's always something. And that's my bargaining chip as well with MTO, with purchasing the land that they'll maybe use out of our pit again, like they did back in 74. But it's, I'm kind of talking on deaf ears to everybody, but my understanding, if we had that excess road, we could build it to kind of like our standards instead of what the township would need. Is that correct?
Maybe if Hope can maybe answer that. And a question versus purchasing, I wonder if just an agreement. So be agreement that you put in a driveway until it got until someone wanted to upgrade it. So it'd be like a private laneway agreement to your standard, because there is the only one issue I look at, there is multiple properties back there.
Yes,
and it might landlock other properties versus agreement might be that you can use it to have a driveway, for example. But maybe CIO Hope Dilbo can maybe speak more to that.
Yeah, I definitely have to take a look into it. I've never heard of that kind of agreement before, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. To my knowledge, if it were to be developed as a road, it would have to be done up to municipal standards, and then we would take it over as such. That's my experience in that.
I know about that altogether.
Yeah, the one thing if you're in the, I know, and maybe not in Horn, but in different municipalities, there's agreements. Basically, it's a private road agreement on a municipal road allowance. So it wouldn't be maintained by the municipality, It's just an agreement will be in place. But I think, I guess, Robert, you have a,
Yes, I'd like
go
to
ahead.
comment on this. This is
Yeah.
basically, this is basically what happened with my property down here on Humphreys Road. Vince Palin built a house in there, and the township gave him permission to use part of the road as a driveway. Then when I decided I wanted to open up that road and sever lots along there, I was forced to bring that road up to standard and actually prime and double it. So I know exactly what's happening, and it's happened. This is the third time. The Grantham Road was that way. Steve St. Michael and Jim Bear Road was like that, and I'm like that. And this is an identical situation where if you're going to go in the township road, we have no choice but to bring it up to standard, because it's not going to be fair to all the other people that had to do that, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, but I think the one difference
I'd like
here
to
is
sit down and talk. I'd
Yeah.
like to sit down and talk to Alan in detail this, because I got a lot of information on this type of thing.
yeah, and the thing is,
I
Um,
can
one
come in
thing-
and talk to you and maybe give you a hand.
yeah, so I guess there's some action items here. If we can, I guess, talk to the MTO, maybe schedule a meeting with them, and we can help arrange a meeting with them between maybe yourself, Hope, maybe the mayor and Alan. And then also if we can look into if it's a private road agreement on municipal drive, on municipal right of way, maybe the one other option too.
Do you know if there's more than just Lavenger that would want access with that road too, or is there somebody else further towards the Boncher?
We don't know off the top. I think we'd have to put it out there and ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought maybe this might have been a solution, just because I don't think there was anybody else would really need it, but I guess there's different ways you have to view it.
So
Yeah,
if
Jim,
oh,
go ahead, Hope.
no, go ahead.
No, I
Chair.
was gonna say it appears on the mapping. There's 3 or 4 properties that are that touch the road allowance. But you can go ahead, Hope.
No, I was just going to summarize what you mentioned. Alan and the mayor and I can chit chat and maybe share MTO contacts and see what we can figure out in terms of getting a meeting together or something to move forward. And then in the meantime, I can take a closer look and reach out to other municipalities to see if they've entered into some kind of similar situation and have any agreements that maybe we can mirror, offer, and use something as well, just for further information for council and committee.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Bennett.
This is just a little bit of information. But because it is a licensed pit back there, we have to be concerned about the industrial traffic that's going to be on our road allowance. So has worry. It's not quite like Mr. Johnson's property where it's residential. It's actually heavy commercial traffic that may come out of there if Alan decides to go ahead and sell Dagger out of there. So we have to watch very carefully where that puts the township liability wise. And that all got to be worked out. I think the very first move should be with MTO and see if we can get some kind of direction out of them of what we can do to accommodate an access for Alan from MTO property.
Okay. No other questions? Any other comments, Alan?
Yeah, I'm thinking that like the township of Horton would maybe have a little bit more clout than just one little guy. So
Yeah, no, and I
yeah,
think,
maybe going back to Mr. Humphreys, maybe it's something right at when they first take off to do the bypass, maybe there is an option that just to have a road allowance there. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, Alan.
Well, thank you.
And I'm getting hope we'll reach out to you. Is that
Okay.
correct? Yeah, and see if we can schedule a meeting with MTO.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, move on to the next item. 7.2.2, February, March 2021 building report. On page 23. In February, seen 6 building permits, which that included 1 new residential. And in March, we've seen 5, and that's 3 residential. So a total of the year is 4 residential. And so far, the total assessment we're doing pretty good. It's $2 million, and last year was 7 million. So we're on our way to hopefully surpass our previous year. Any questions from the committee? Seeing none. Any from the members of council? Okay, seeing none, I'll turn it back to you. Thank you everyone for joining. That ends the planning portion. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll turn back to Mayor Bennett. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to turn it right back to you anyway, Chair Clue, for Protected Service Committee.
Chair Cleary, you're muted.
That's where I hit the button. Sorry, guys. It's been a bad night for. Okay. Yeah, so we met committee March 11th. Sorry. Yeah, so we went we went with the committee members, and between January 1st and March 8th, the 10 responses, and also some of the members were vaccinated, the first vaccination, and also the deputy fire chief. It has closed, and we will be doing interviews. Any dates yet, Hope, for that?
We're actually just working on figuring out a couple dates that work for availability purposes. And now with the COVID shutdown, it's just a little bit getting a little bit more difficult. But we just finalized a few things today, so we'll let committee know once we get there.
Okay. Yeah, and then the final item was the septic tanks for water storage, which was discussed in the last test meeting. And that's it for the report. Any questions? Deputy Mayor Campbell.
So I assume if we're conducting interviews, we have more than one candidate for deputy mayor? Or deputy?
Yeah,
Sorry?
I believe there's 2. Yes.
I'm so excited.
I was going to have to ask for somebody to resign first before we could do that.
I'm just glad that we have a couple of horses in the race. It's nice to see, and again, I would expect that from our volunteers. If you looked at the write up for how many years of service, some of our some of our firefighters have, it's no doubt that there'd be a few step up. So I know I've said it, and you know, every council has said it. Every time that we post an ad for a replacement, we always hope that there's more than one. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Humphreys.
Just a quick thought. I think using the septized tanks is a great idea. I don't know how it would toughen in the winter time, but definitely if there was brush fires or something, that'd be nice to have that much water on this side of the highway, or you don't want to go to the river. And I think it's a good way of utilizing that. But be a couple of things would be, how long in the year could we keep it without freezing, or could we insulate it? Like, there's a lot of questions, but it's a great idea. And I think they've done some research. It holds a pile of water, and it'd be ideal to have, if they're working in that small circumference where they're closer to the septage pit than they are to the boat launch or something for water. So that's a great idea.
So yeah, and the intent is to use it, I believe, to use it all year round, because it is draft from the bottom of the tank, and it's below grade enough, I believe, to be all year. That, but Mayor Bennett would know probably more information than myself. Mayor Bennett.
Thank you, Chair. Through you, the whole system is designed to be a year-round system when it was put in to begin with. So there is no structural money that needs to go into it to accommodate the fire department. The whole intent, if you read back to when it was going in, if it did not suit the purpose at the time that it was going to the fire department as reserve tanks to begin with, fortunately, it did its job. We showed that the whole system would work, but the government didn't move ahead with the legislation. And after Alan started talking about this, Toronto kind of put out a message that in the building code that the township still has to supply its own treatment at some point, but they're not there with it yet. So that's where we're at.
Councillor Humphrey.
Just, no, I figured if it was holding septic or sewage, it would preheat itself, and I didn't realize it was that much below grade. So it's good to find out more information there. But I figured with septic tanks and stuff, they created its own heat for the process. But once it's flushed out with water and it pumps off the bottom, that's a great idea. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions, move on to the next item. 7.3.2 fire safety grant program. And the recommendation that the council Township of Horton approve and support the proposal submitted by the fire chief regarding the utilization of the allowed grant funds of $5,300 to provide increased training opportunities within Township of Horton Fire Department. And that council direct the CAO to enter into a fire safety grant transfer payment with Her Majesty Queen and Right of Ontario, as represented by the Office of the Fire Marshal. And I'll pass it over to the author, Hope Dilbo.
You've all had a chance to read the report, so I won't read through it. But there are a couple hoops we need to jump through to retain the funding that we've been allocated at the 5,300, which is I need a resolution of council approving the proposal, as well as direction for me to enter into the TPA with Ontario Fire Marshal.
Thank you. Any questions? Mayor Bennett.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. You will notice in today's correspondence that most of the answers over the training are addressed in the correspondence from the Fire Marshal and the Ontario government. So they do have a direction going forward, and it's unfortunate that we lost the fire college, but all the forethought went into where we're headed, and it's in the correspondence package.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none, I'll pass it over to Mayor Bennett. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Crew. We'll move on to Recreation Committee, Chair Humphreys.
Thank you, Mayor Bennett. On page 45 was our committee report from March 23rd, 2021. We were discussing the Ontario Winter Games. Everybody's probably read it, so is any questions on those I can try and answer, I'll do that. But we talked about the names for the HRA, and according to Amanda, we haven't heard back much on, people are worried about COVID, and there's, a lot of the people don't have emails, and so hopefully by the next meeting we can have some names. And I don't know, the beer returns were supposed to be done before the April meeting, and I don't know any follow-up on that. I don't think it's been done yet. Again, everything's changed. The last thing on that thing was the fencing the property, and I know it's still, we got to work with Adam Knapp from Public Works and do some lineups on the fencing and stuff, but that'll come down the road too. So anyway, that's the report. And Amanda Ryan, I want to thank her for prepping that for us. And if there's any other questions, I can try and help you with it. There's not a whole lot going on. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
You're on mute, Glenn.
Mute.
Sorry, thank you. So I was just looking, or if we're down to the fencing around property, are we talking that yet, Doug?
It was brought up at the meeting to keep it on the agenda till we get, I know there's a deal made with Public Works and the Recreation Department for the fencing, and we know where the points are, so it's a matter of whether we put it out to tender or if the Public Works want to take it on. So there's still that to sit down and negotiate in the next little while. You can't fence yet anyhow, and we'll see what happens there. So.
Okay, and I guess if we're going the volunteer route, I'll throw my hat in the ring. I versed at a little bit of that, so.
Yep, a little experience. So your dad was really good at fencing.
He enjoyed it. He passed it on, so.
That's good.
Anyway, should you go that route, keep me in mind. So.
Sure will. Don't hear any more questions? We can send it back to you, Mayor Bennett.
Thank you, Councillor Humphreys. We'll move on to community committees and county council. So Renfrew and Area Senior Home Support, Councillor Humphreys.
Thank you, Mayor Bennett. Yeah, we had a meeting. It's sort of hit and miss, but they had some grant money to get rid of before March 31st, which has come and gone. Computer, tablets, and offices and chairs. There's some personal items to be agended. They got doors to install that were unfortunately not installed by Mr. Hetrick, who passed away. And I don't know whether they've been put in yet or not, but they were supposed to open this month, but I don't think that's going to happen. Very busy doing seniors' home income tax forms. They've done over 250 as of March 19th. They're still working on COVID shots and drivers, and I didn't realize that they looked after like foot care and quite a few other things. So they're a moving group, and it's a good cross section. Again, it's a good cross section of people to work with, and again, I'm just a rookie on this, so I will learn as we go on. But we've had good meetings, and Dennis has got the reins by the horn, and we're doing pretty well. And I know Mayor Bennett's the president of that organization, so if he has to fill in anything else, we can ask him.
Okay, so
Yes.
Chair, I'll just fill in where we actually are because things are happening around you, and as you're well aware, We're doing virtual meetings, but only when we have enough to put on the agenda to have meetings. So at Senior Home Support, the doors are in. They are now painted and pretty well finished. We have hired a contractor to paint the whole inside of the Senior Home Support building through grant money at no cost to the Senior Home Support as far as tapping into any fundraising funds used. We have got a grant to put in the air supply that's necessary with COVID funding. So we have both the Golden Age Activity Center and Senior Home Support have their own separate units ordered, and they will be on within 60 days. So we'll be COVID compliant as far as the amount of air exchange that needs to happen when the building gets back to full use. And we have hired a lady to look after the senior center, and she started, I believe, today, and she will be open to get doors open sometime in August would be probably where we're looking at, but there is a lot to do in order to make sure that we can stay compliant with everybody. So that's basically where we are. We are not touching the fundraising money. It's all the government has supplied us with everything we need for both the center and the home support side to make sure our employees and the people using the other side are all safe.
Just one other question. Did they communicate what Dennis quoted us on the HVAC? 15,000 and 17,000? Was that the prices?
That's to the dollar.
Okay, that's good. Because again, I didn't get the last email. I don't know whether he hasn't got my email, but I just went back and checked some of my notes, and that was on the list about the HVAC price. So
yeah,
thanks for the update.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Campbell, Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. You're muted.
At this point, I don't believe we've any further hope. Have you received any correspondence?
There hasn't been anything that's moved forward since the last time we met as a council, and actually staff that are part of the committee are putting pressure on the two members of the Police Services Board just to see kind of where we're at with it, because we need to be compliant by July 1st. And at this rate, we have nothing on paper that we're working towards. So staff is cognizant that we're moving a little slow, but we are trying to put some pressure on the committee so we can keep moving forward.
They reached out to me a bit on the way home tonight, but we didn't. We came to a slight agreement, so we'll leave that for a conversation another day. So, yeah, but no. No, if that deadline's, unless they're going to extend that deadline, that's. I agree. We have to put pressure on. So.
And that they may actually extend it, but we haven't heard a word yet from that. So. Is it worth sending a letter out to them to shake the bush to see if they would, or I guess the pressure we're putting on is what we're doing anyway. So. Well, the pressure we're putting on is just our own committee, but it's all municipalities in the province of Ontario that need to be compliant. So I'm sure that we're not the only ones that are a little behind, but that may be what we need to do as a committee.
Thank you. That is it there, Bennett.
Okay, thank you. Health Service Village. We have not had any meetings. We have settled all our legal issues with the Renfrew Industrial Commission, and that is finished now. So we are moving ahead, setting up how we can move forward with the committee and who's going to be the funding partners. I would expect we're not going to hear anything much for about 60 days. Well, Mayor from Admaston Bromley is actually the chair, and he's looking after how we're going to move forward. So and he'll call a meeting when he has a forward plan put together. That's about all I have on Health Service Village. Chamber of Commerce, Councillor Humphries.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bennett. Yes, we had our meeting on March 16th. We're back just meeting once a month we were meeting every 2 weeks before, but our new members in our board of directors, another good bunch of people to work with. We're going to do is probably get back to do a few virtual town halls, and we have a new member on our directors, Oliver Jacob, who's a labor marketer, and he's going to speak with us at our April meeting, and monitoring the federal programs for labor to help businesses out. We're trying to put up safety because the building's so small at the side of the library. It's very small to have people in there, so that we are putting plexiglass in to protect our secretary and limited access, and hopefully that the library and the town of Renfrew are going to put new murals on the end of that building and freshen it up, because the library does own that building and the chamber gets a good deal from the town on the rent. And so with it, they'll be going to start networking and stuff. And next meeting, we'll have more information on the April 20th meeting, 2 weeks from today. Thank you.
Okay. Next is County Council. We did have a long in-depth discussion at County Council, and County Council has voted to actually go ahead and finish Ottawa Valley Trail up towards Deep River. We did get the material from MTO to make to put on the trail in a special agreement. So there is tons of material to put on the trail sitting in stockpile ready for use. It's going to cost roughly $4 million to finish the trail going up. There's a plan coming forward from County Council that $2 million of that is going to come out of the county's budget and be replaced when has the working fund reserve accumulate them funds. We do have quite an interest in the Ottawa Valley Trail, and we hope that when the conditions do move forward, that it's a real economic boost to the county of Renfrew. But we do need to wait till COVID disappears in order for the businesses to generate that economic boost, because with them being closed, it's not an economic booster at all until the small businesses can benefit from it. So we're probably going to see a little bit this year, but not a great deal. Other than that, at County Council, we have there are several issues. A few of them that I will bring back on my next report. They'll move forward, and of course everybody's aware that they're still working on the county building up there to finish up, so they can open it up. And again, it's going to depend on when we can get back in person, because it's somewhat secured to COVID, but it is not completely secured. So the rules will have to relax somewhat before we can actually move into the building up there. And I don't think there's a county councillor or a staff member up there that's not waiting for the day that the door is unlocked and we can move back in. So that's about all I have for County Council right now. Other than the good news is our official plan, OP 25, it did get taken off the table, and it's OP 31 now, right? Correct, Hope? And it is with the agricultural land reduced in Horton Township, and the deer yards that were hindering Hillalook, Haggerty, and Richards is gone. So when we started this out 2.5 months ago, the official plan did have a lot of hindrance in it for the Township of Horton. but I have to give the county credit. They did listen to what our problems were, and they did listen to the other, my other mayors that sit on county council to come up with a solution that is very livable for everybody in the 17 municipalities that we do represent. That we are now able to have a great deal of development without our hands tied. So it was good we spoke up, and it was good. It was even better that we're listened to. That's about all I have for county council right now. Any questions? Chair Carew.
Just wondering, will the county update the mapping to reflect the changes in the OP? Do you know, Hope, at all? Because current right now it's showing that as previous, not as previous, but as shown. I think it's shown as the lands that are the extra ag lands, but they're going to show that it's all taken out.
So yeah, they're reverting back to the original mapping that they had recommended to the province used for OPA 25 that we had submitted to them with the ag lands removed. So that has been updated. So there are still some ag lands designated, but they drastically reduced it to our recommendation, and then the mapping will reflect that.
And Councillor Carew, there is a waiting time before it actually gets approved to begin with. So Hope explained to me this morning, we're probably looking at end of July before it's actually part of Horton Township's official plan. Any other questions? None. Maybe I may explain a little bit. Everybody knows we are going ahead with the consultant to actually look at what we have for lands and where we actually might have a little bit of 1, 2, and 3, and we're hoping to have that submitted up there before everything does go ahead, so that we don't have to do an amendment, that we can actually get it in on this round so that it's looked after, and that's up to us to actually move it forward quick enough if we can, in order not to have to amend the official plan. No other questions? We'll move on to the correspondence summary then. Information correspondence. And Deputy Mayor Campbell, she's yours.
All right. And I am unmuted. So on page 13, the online training for land use planning, beyond the basics training, I see that I guess it was full, and then they've opted to open up 3 more dates coming up fairly soon, May 20th, 27th, and June 3rd. It's a half-day workshop, builds on EMO's online planning. Have you read this, Hope? Is this something that would, sorry to put you on the spot between yourself and Nick? Have you read this? Is this something that should be sending some delegates to?
Sorry, this is for the land use planning.
Yes.
Yeah, so Nikki actually has already taken the course or will be taking it. And then I believe we've put it on the agenda a couple times now. And I think Councillor Webster mentioned he may take it. But it's something out there if you would like to just let me know. I think it's kind of an overview, a quick little basic overview of land use planning in Ontario.
Okay, perfect.
I probably would take it for June 3rd. So.
Okay, we'll mark you down.
I mean, I don't know if I should speak on I guess the next one right after that, page 14, COVID-19 vaccine news brief. I know there's talk that is there 1.5 million more doses to be set out. That was the announcement today. I just heard part of it on the way home. So I guess that's good news. I don't know, Mayor Bennett, have you heard anything up through the county of which way they're heading?
Honestly, to answer that, Deputy Mayor Campbell, is unless you got it strapped to your ear by phone, or unless you're sitting there by computer, things change within half an hour of one thing being another. They did up the dates today, so anybody that's 60 plus is now can put their name in to be in line, plus all essential workers in Ontario. So anybody that had to work through it can now go in regardless of put your name in and be vaccinated. So that was a change today. There was a couple of that they did shut the schools down in Toronto area only today. Of course, Peel was shut down, but Toronto is shut down, and he's talking about putting a stay-at-home order in place by the end of the week for any hotspots. So if your numbers are moving drastically, so we'll look after the cities, and of course it's up to our Department of Health to decide whether we're in the stay-at-home orders or not. But I would like to say that what they're doing in Renfrew County as far as the vaccinations is very well organized, and it's very, very easy to keep track of what's happening, and very, very well done professionally. We at some point when we get enough doses that we can actually have drive-throughs, that will be looked after. But right at the moment, it's hard to set up a drive-through and then not have the doses arrive to actually administer them. So they're being very cautious as how quickly they move forward and how much is actually going to get to Renfrew County before it goes too much further and the drive-throughs are set up. So I myself did have mine on Saturday, and there's a 16-week wait right at the moment for the second shot. So that's where we're at. But it's very well done, and they're doing a very good job of what they need to look after our residents. There's a very huge thank you that needs to go out to our paramedics and our healthcare teams. Councillor Carew?
Yeah, no, I was going to add that with Empire's drive-through, it done very well. Works. We're gonna hang doing every Thursday, I think, or they were. But with correspondence, I just want to add it's always good to read the Ottawa Valley Business. Nice to see what's going around in the municipality, and just want to shout out to Councillor Humphreys. Made it this week. I think probably the first councillor that made it on it. So congrats.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for a minute, Councillor Carew. I just want to make sure we're not taking Glenn's.
Sorry.
Yeah, just want to. Yeah, are you finished, Deputy Mayor Campbell?
I am. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Carew.
Sorry about that. Apologize. No, I'm done now too. So.
Okay. So who's going to box for the next turn here? Councillor Webster?
Sure. Just a couple things. Like Deputy Mayor Campbell said, page 14, that was a good read. Good facts in there. Just, if you get a chance to read that up. The Renfrew Food Bank, thank you, Car. That's good to see coming back our way. And the other one was, I do not remember, Hope, in regards to our Safe Restart agreement. Now, I seen it. Has anything correspondence came through yet? I just cannot remember the number, even if I seen the number. So just wondering what that is, but that's all good news also.
You mean the $9,000, Tom?
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then
For Horton, yeah.
okay. Thank you, Councillor Humphreys.
Councillor Webster, I apologize for interrupting you.
That it, Councillor Webster?
That's everything. Thank you.
Yep. Councillor Humphreys.
Yeah, I was on board with Deputy Mayor Campbell and also with Councillor Webster, but it was really interesting. I registered for my vaccine. I'm lucky I'm old. And I registered, got an email back, and my wife booked hers, and within 30 seconds, I'm a week later. But anyway, they'll both be done in April, so we'll get that looked after. So I'll be safe to go around. And the third thing I had was Renfrew County is fighting for more abattoirs for our 450 farmers in Renfrew County. Sales dropped off terrible because the big packing plants are having so much COVID. And we want to keep the plants smaller and safer. And that's the real push, because the guys are backed up for like 3 and 4 and 5 months to wait to get stuff butchered. That means they get way over fat, and they're discounted. So this is important to our agricultural end of the sector in Renfrew County. But it was a good read, and the NFU is really pushing it. I know the other farm organizations will join in also. So thank you, Mayor Bennett. That's my report.
Thank you. Councillor Webster?
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot to mention, Councillor Humphreys just brought it up. I had got my shot also last week, and I went through Pembroke, the PMC in Pembroke. It was fantastic, and I only waited 4 days for an appointment. So, you may want to let people know, if they want it sooner than later, that look around, because I only, 40 minutes up the road, I had my shot within 4 days. So it's all good.
I think our whole health team is doing an excellent job of looking after Renfrew County, and it's very nice that you're able to move where you can actually get the shot, and how quickly they actually do the appointment. Thank you for that, Councillor Webster. But the only thing I want to mention, and I did mention this to Hope before the meeting, is the Ontario government actually put out the communique over the code of conduct being done, Hope assures me that we're pretty well where we need to be. The only thing that she asked me to get was a horsewhip, so that if we do get out of line, she can look after it.
Not the whip again.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to the action correspondence then. Letter of support for Eorn. This is a very, very important project, and as you can see, the through our correspondence from Mr. Yakubuski today, that there's actually 4.2 million well, no, sorry. Wait, what did they add this week, Hope? It's not 4.2, it's 2.4. No. There was a big increase to the provincial government towards the Eorn project in our correspondence. And I wouldn't find it quick enough. So they're in for a considerable, it's a 200 million, is it?
I don't know the number off the top of my head. Sorry.
It's a huge contribution towards getting us all connected in Ontario. Any comments of the action correspondence, please? None? Bylaws, we have none. Notice to file motion for next council meeting. See, I'm not even going to say anything. Council staff members' concerns. Hope?
Just quickly, I'm sure you all got my email today, but the office will be closed to the public starting tomorrow, and access to staff by appointment only. And staff will be reverting back to the rotational work from home schedule that we had once had implemented earlier on. So we just devised that schedule this morning. So I will ensure that council gets a copy of that schedule also, so that you know who and how to contact if you're looking for any of us.
Just drive in the parking lot.
Any other concerns? Thank you, Hope. None being heard. Motion for reconsideration, debate on the motion to reconsider only.
Sorry, Mayor Bennett, I think Councillor Webster had his hand up
Oh, did I miss?
at the
Sorry.
last second.
Okay,
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mayor Bennett. In regards to, there was a news article out there about a fellow councillor, Milton Stevenson, passing. And I just wondered if the paper reached out to you, Mayor Bennett, for your comments, because I thought those comments should have came from Horton Township.
okay, I would like to explain that. I don't honestly know, Mayor Webster or Councillor Webster. The situation was that Nikki had been spending a lot of time trying to get me hooked up with my phone. So I actually had about a 30-day period that I did not have a phone at all. And it could have, Mr. Stevenson did pass away during that time, because it was only been a week since we've been successful in actually getting communications on our new iPhone that Nikki's already pounded into me. Don't do that again. But I would have thought that we could have reached, they could have reached out a different way if I had not answered the call. So it's up in the air whether I actually got a call to be reached out to. I just don't understand why the media wouldn't have called the township and asked staff to actually have me call them. So I do want to make it clear that they could have easily, and that they didn't return I didn't return a call because I didn't even know for that stretch of time what I had for calls and what I didn't have for calls. So that's where we're at.
Okay, great. Thank you for clearing that up. And also, you know, all the stories I've heard about this gentleman, he was a great mentor and everything to the township. Teaching wise, you know, he's going to be sorely missed, and his experience is going to be extremely missed and invaluable to replace that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Webster. Hope you had your hand up.
I just wanted to let council know I did reach out to the media to let them know that if at any time they need to contact any member of council, they can always contact staff, and we will get them in touch with them to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Thank you, Hope. And Councillor Webster, just to go along with your comments, Mr. Stevenson taught me most of the stuff I know about community politics. And he happened to be my first, actually my second reeve that I sat under. And I can say that whatever he did for our community, he did it well. And he made sure that at the end of the day, that all Horton residents were looked after to the best of his ability. And certainly didn't mind picking up the phone or driving to Toronto to ensure that we got what we needed in this community. We had a great relationship. So we hit a couple rocky roads, but I can tell you that them rocky roads didn't live very long before it was smoothed out, and we moved together as a team. So it's very difficult as a councillor member to lose a mentor like that. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
And I just want to thank staff for flying the flags at half-mast with respect to the loss of our former councillor and Reeve. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Resolutions.
That council reject the bid submission for tender PW 2021-01, supply of one new 2500 series regular cab truck with snowplow from Urban Ford for the amount of $73,683.01, including HST, and that staff will bring forward a plan to the next regularly scheduled test committee meeting.
Mover, Councillor Webster. Seconder, Councillor Humphries. Excuse me. Any discussion? Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor?
Councillor Carew.
In favor?
Councillor Webster.
In favor.
And I'm in favor.
That council award tender PW 2021-02, supply and haul of pit run and granular M to Bonisher Excavating Incorporated for the amount of $46,735.67, including HST.
Mover, please. Councillor Humphries. Seconder. Councillor Webster. Councillor Carew.
In favor?
Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor?
Councillor Webster.
Favor.
And I'm in favor.
That council award tender PW 2021-03, Whitten Roads South rehabilitation to BR Fulton Construction for the amount of $180,996.62, including HST.
Mover, Deputy Mayor Campbell. Seconder, Councillor Carew. Any discussion? Councillor Carew.
In favor?
Councillor Webster.
In favor?
Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor?
And I'm in favor.
That council received the letter from Alan Jameson regarding the purchase of an unopened road allowance as information.
Mover, Councillor Humphries. Seconder, Deputy Mayor Campbell. Questions, comments? Councillor Webster.
In favor?
Councillor Carew.
In favor?
Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor?
And I'm in favor.
That council accept the February 2021 and March 2021 building reports as information.
Mover. Councillor Carew, second by Councillor Webster. Any discussion? Got a quick question. Have you put your bet on there, Deputy Mayor Campbell?
When I was reading it through and I was thinking about it today, I said I usually go 25. I guess I've been getting off quite lucky. So let's go 28.
Oh, yeah. Everything else is 50% more, so you.
Wow, well, I'll go 30. So
Okay.
I'll throw $50 towards recreation. So we do not exceed 30 new residents. So
There. Okay. Councillor Humphries.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
in favor?
Councillor Carew.
In favor?
Councillor Webster.
In favor.
And I'm in favor.
That council accept the that council accept the Protective Services Committee Chair's report as information.
Mover. Councillor Humphries, second by Deputy Mayor Campbell. Councillor Webster,
In favor?
Councillor Carew,
In favor?
Councillor Humphries,
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
That Council of the Township of Horton approve and support the proposal submitted by the fire chief regarding the utilization of the allocated grant funds of $5,300 to provide increased training opportunities within the Horton Fire Department. And that council direct the CAO clerk to enter into the fire safety grant transfer payment agreement with Her Majesty the Queen and Right of Ontario as represented by the Office of the Fire Marshal.
Mover. Counselor Humphrey, second by Counselor Webster. Any discussion? Counselor Carew,
In favor?
Counselor Humphreys,
In favor.
Counselor Webster,
Favor?
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
Favor.
and I'm in favor.
That council accept the Recreation Committee Chair's report as information.
Mover. Counselor Humphreys, second by Counselor Carew. Counselor Webster,
Favor?
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
Favor.
Counselor Humphreys,
In favor.
Counselor Carew,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
The council received the reports for community committees and county council as information.
Mover. Deputy Mayor Campbell, second by Counselor Carew. Counselor Webster,
Favor?
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Favor. Sorry.
Don't look at with a smile on your face like that. Counselor Humphreys,
In favor.
Counselor Carew,
In favor?
and I'm in favor.
That council accept the CAO clerk's information memo for April 6, 2021.
Mover. Counselor Humphreys. Quick on the hand tonight, Doug.
We gotta be.
Yeah. Who's the seconder? Counselor Webster. Counselor Carew,
In favor?
Counselor Humphreys,
In favor.
Counselor Webster,
Favor?
Deputy Mayor Campbell,
In favor.
and I'm in favor.
Whereas residents and businesses across our municipality need access to modern and adequate access to high-speed broadband services, and whereas the demand for high-speed broadband services will continue to grow year after year, and whereas our residents and businesses should not continue to be disadvantaged by the lack of access to high-speed services, and whereas the Eastern Ontario Regional Network, EORN, has submitted a comprehensive regional project to deliver a gig up to 1,000 megabytes per second of speed that will serve our residents and businesses long into the future. And whereas EORN's approach has proven itself very successful and represents an efficient and effective way to solve our broadband needs. Now therefore that the Council of the Township of Horton requests both the federal and provincial governments to immediately fund the EORN gig project. And finally, that a letter of support with a copy of this resolution be sent to Minister Mosef and Minister Scott with copies to our Member of Parliament and Member of Provincial Parliament.
Mover. Counselor Carew, second by Counselor Webster. Comments? Counselor Carew.
No, this is a very important project. And hopefully all councils in Eastern Ontario do the same thing, which I imagine they will. It's only going to benefit all the residents in Horton and all of Eastern Ontario, and basically shows that the province put their money where their mouth is. With EORN, that they've had good track records with projects, and they can definitely deliver this size of project. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Webster.
Very well said. Also, in regards to that, is that they actually listen to the smaller municipalities in regards to the lack of internet. So they listen to us as a municipalities, townships, and then they delivered on their promise. So it's all good news. Thanks.
Counselor Humphreys.
I think we just gotta keep pushing all the time to, they'll send in letters and they'll get started. I think we got to keep on top of it, like every month, send them a update of support. And be positive about it, because it's going to be a benefit. Like Councillor Cruz said, it's going to be a big benefit. Thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Just quickly, Mayor Bennett, yeah, I'm sure you can remember the first time someone came to council and said, we need better internet in our township. Who'd have thought with technology it would take this long to get to this point? So well spoken, Councillor Cleroux, and I know you're a strong advocate in ensuring that the township important that every ratepayer has access to the internet. Again, it's been a long time coming and we're almost there. So it's good to see. Thank you.
Just as a quick reply to Deputy Mayor Campbell, but in my youth, it used to be party lines and hemlock numbers, and it took them almost 80 years to build the phone network. So we are really speeding up if we can build a broadband network that's very similar to the phone network 50 years ago, and do it within a 15-year period. So they do have it pretty well down pat, and they are doing an excellent job, and we're excellently represented with EORN and the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, and the knowledge is there. And we do have a representative now from Renfrew County sitting on the EORN board. Jennifer Murphy from Boncher Valley is now our representative. So if you do at any time have anything that you need answered or would like input or directly to the board, just call Jennifer up. She's easy to get a hold to. Her numbers are listed there, and she will certainly address it with them as we move forward. Any other questions, comments? Councillor Carew.
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys.
In favor.
Councillor Webster.
Favor?
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
In favor.
And I'm in favor.
That council went into a closed session meeting at 5:41 p.m. to discuss the following items pursuant to section 239(2) and E of the Municipal Act. B, litigation or potential litigation, waste tender contract. Again, litigation or potential litigation, Thompson Road road allowance. And E, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, winter clearing incident.
Moved by the Deputy Mayor Campbell. Seconder. Councillor Webster. Must be getting later. Doug missed that one.
No problem.
Councillor Webster.
Favor?
Councillor Carew.
In favor?
Councillor Humphreys.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Campbell.
Favor?